Is that better? Is that better? I know it's going to be a little delay. Is that better? I know it's going to be a little delay. Is that better? Okay. Is that better? You guys there? Looks like I didn't push the play button. So Derek, what's happening? James, uh, Soap, Moray, Rocky, Sebastian, Moray, Maraki. So can you see me now? I should be able. So I didn't hit the play button. I'm silly. So I guess I gotta say all that stuff all over again. I didn't hit the play button. So I will read this again. So this thing says arcane water world. Early Earth's hot mantle may have led to the vast global ocean. And what the global ocean was, let me see if I can read this. Okay, I should be good. Okay, yeah, everybody should be able to see me. A the one, Aggie Pride. Um, so what this article that I just read to myself. So what it's talking about, the one, good evening. Um, and if everybody, Derek, James, the one, and Soap, Moray, Rocky, Sebastian. All right. I think we're better now. But I forgot to hit the play. I forgot to hit the play. Um, so Arcanian world, and I talk about the primal waters, like once the two lovers had children, the earth was covered with just water. As Mu was covered, it was covered with water, and this was the first type of real activity on this type of plane that we live in. And now they're admitting it. I was talking about Kevin Costner in the movie Waterworld, where they look at it opposite. They look at like the world was destroyed and went back to water, where it's the opposite. The world, when it was first created, was water, but the water is not like the oceans they say today. But this is not the first article I found that says this. And then the second article talks about a telephone system that was discovered in the 1200-year-old telephones. And the telephones were found in basically Peru. Um, yeah, the Rio Machi Valley of northern Peru, Rio Masotes. So, and this is how the telephone was made. It appears to be rudimentary speech transmission device, much like a lover's telephone. A lover's telephone is basically you take two cans, early science that we've all probably done in school. You take a wire, two cans, and you can hear a type of sound. And it was very popular years ago. The old lover's telephone was usually comprised of cans connected to string used to speak back and forth, mostly seen as a novelty. But this one, gourds were each 3.5 inches long, coated in resin, and as transmitters and receivers of sound. Each one of the gourd bases is a stretched hide membrane, 75 feet, connecting two ends is made of cotton twine. Uh, the simplicity of the device discusses its archaeological implications. So, this is the earliest telephone, which began with non-electric string devices by more than 1,000 years ago in 1833. So, like I was, my son and I were talking about how in Kemet how anywhere did they paint in the dark? Some of these places when they were supposedly inside. So, it wasn't necessarily that they had batteries, but they had something very similar. So what do they say? There's nothing new under the sun. It's really not. Have you seen the movie Black Box? Yeah, I did. I did see it. Jeffrey had suggested I see that movie months ago. So I saw it then. Antoine, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Glad you made it this time. Have you seen the movie Black Box? Yeah, I did. I did. And it talks about, the people that would be immune. And I'm sorry I didn't give a commercial, but I'm just drinking copper water. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. But yeah, I watched Bird Box or Black Box a long time ago. Antoine, a long time ago. Hey, Jane Doe, peace to you from North Carolina, where there is a huge police presence in center net in the moment. Ah, okay. Well, it's a growing presence here, and the defense for the Chauvin trial just ended. So Chauvin said he wasn't going to take the stand, which no one, he'd be a fool to take the stand. So any good attorney would tell you. Still almost looks like that taxi dude. I mean, him and that, I don't know, the picture of the guy on the neck and the guy on trial. A lot of times when they put those pictures side by side, it does not look like the same cat. So I don't know. It looks like that they were pulling out that taxi game. Remember that dude? It looked like kind of very similar. But it's a lot of cops. I mean, I didn't move around today as much as I did last night and the night before, and it's a lot of cops. I mean, they're big presence out at the Mall of America. These outlets, the mall here had extra presence. All these stores there. There was a store near me that was boarded up, and where did I go? It surprised me that store was boarded up because we're so far away. But there was a store I went to the other day that was boarded up, and I was surprised because we're so far away. So I was very surprised. So, it's gonna, up here is going to get funky next couple of weeks. They've sequestered the jury to come up with it, which puts more pressure on them and having to go home. They're already protesting about the young lady here only being put up for manslaughter. And again, this is a 26-year-old veteran that had a camera on her, and she knows she has a camera on her, so she gave herself an alibi. She knew she pulled out a gun. You're in a training session, and she didn't even have to be in the lead of the training session. She could have let them and wrote them up to say, this is what you did wrong, this is what you did wrong, this is what you did wrong. If you're training these two or you're training one, let him do his job. So the guy pushed away. He's not going to go fire. He's going to get a gun charge and he's going to get that. So why? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. No, Black Box, Rocky, is the one where like today's conditions, where everybody's quarantined and the runners are the people that can move around. So the military's all suited all the time, and you can't move around. You can't drive your cars. Everybody is pretty much locked in place. But there's these runners that can move around because they don't have the disease. So, where you at, Jane Doe? Bulichi here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because the one, I think he's down south. I bet absolutely she knew she had a gun and not a taser. Yeah, she knew it was a Glock. I mean, it's no way. Again, I've talked about muscle memory, a habit. It's a habit. Now I'll say this: it's a habit to grab your gun instead of the taser. It is a habit, but only in at the range and in practice. I mean, I've talked many times. My last holster was a double break holster. It was some punks always getting their guns taken, so I bought a holster with a double break. So to really be proficient in that, I had to practice all the time how to just double break that damn thing, because most holsters is just a simple break and you pull it out. And I even think the tasers might even have a break. So it was a wise move by a veteran to cover her ass. So she knew all along. But I'll say this too. I've watched people do simulations and get carried away. I watched a dude get beat up. He was a trainer, and the trainer he always would just in a training exercise, this dude would get heated. And he got heated with a dude, and I saw the dude knock him out. Dude knocked the trainer out. and the trainer worked at the college where I went to the academy. And then the trainer got fired because he always did that kind of thing. We would do simulations, he would get heated. And so I can't say I haven't witnessed that, because I witnessed a person panic in some situation. But yeah, she knew. I happened to have my hydrogen glass bottle with me at the time of a car accident tonight before headed home. Can you say because of the Jupiter conjunction, my natal sign Pisces, the air is tense? I found that last night. I noticed when I tried to meditate after I got done here, the area was a little thicker. I think I saw a little bit of that too. So could be. And I did want to look at that. I put my phone back up, but I know Venus is to my, what that would be, east, like almost northeast, more north, but almost northeast. And I wanted to see, because normally I don't see Jupiter until June, but maybe it's a star system I looked at. I wanted to make sure though. Here we go. To see what this was. Let me turn this damn thing down. It makes this weird music. Here we go. So what is in my, so I got Pisces to my south. Okay. Well, so that might just be the star Parama. Hmm. Okay. I'm seeing a line, but okay, it's more above me. Okay, here we go. So let's back up. Catch it. Because the stars usually follow the same pattern. I mean, the planets. Get lost a little bit here. Might have to do it like this. Here we go. It might be Scorpius. Can't really tell. Can't really tell. Can't really tell. I was just doing a little stargazing. It's kind of my thing. I always go out there and see. Kind of confined here instead of it having, bigger area to just zoom around. But I'm gonna get a telescope this year for sure. No, you're thinking of some other movie. Check my above comment. Black Box? Yeah, Black Box was the movie. No, it's the scientist takes a guy who almost dies from brain injury and uploads her dead son's consciousness into his brain. Then what was the movie about them being in quarantine? What? Okay, maybe I didn't see it then. Okay, I'm sorry. So scientist takes a guy who almost dies from brain injury and uploads her dead son's consciousness into the brain. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, maybe I didn't see it. I thought I did. I have to look that one up. I'll look it up now. Tell you, I don't look up shit on Apple. Everything you want to look up, they want to freaking charge you. My son's like, well, just put Google on it, Dad. Just put Google on it. Oh, okay. No, I didn't see this. I thought Sly talked about this, though. It's not even a new movie. Okay. All right. No, I can I'll watch it, pull it up on here. uh, pull it up on there. Let's see. Take a second. Okay, but yeah, I thought I seemed like I listened to Sly did a breakdown, the one just the multiple victims at FedEx. This is just a surprise. Um, well, he had a scare. You know, if you had that scare where you feel that you have a scare and you think you're about to have a heart attack, that'll make anybody try to quit and say, go sit down. Because Reggie Lewis, remember, Reggie Lewis was just shooting at it on a side basket during practice and he fell out. So why take the chance? On a lot of things, Antoine, what's happening going on in the theatric world? Police shootings and people are shooting at the police. Yeah, after that 13-year-old boy supposedly had a gun, but why did she do it? Man, that's the thing. There was malice in her heart. Had to be, or that was, the program she was doing. Because this has been a test area, and so as I said before, they don't want to wait. They want the war with the police to start now. That's pretty much what they're shooting for. That's what they're trying to cause. The elites want people not to fight them. They want you to fight their property protectors. And it's interesting, there's a lot of people that back property protectors. So that's what they want. They want, as I said, if they bring the UN in here and they bring in Chinese troops, they'll have no mercy for people. Police, they're making police that kind of thing, where the police don't have, the military would have more mercy on people than what they're showing you the police have. But on the other hand, if it's so easy for police to pop people, and this latest boy was more of a white Latino looking dude, European Latino. But yeah, CJ, I'm not surprised that he retired. He has such a scare that it why risk it? Why not just take it easy and spend time with your family? Yep. Yeah, in Indianapolis. Okay, another one in Indianapolis. Wow. That's Bird Box. That's the quarantine. That's Bird Box is the quarantine. What was the one where she was? But was that Blind Box? Where the damn ass stupid ass movie with the phantoms? That's Bird Box. That's the quarantine movie. Delia. That's the goddamn Delia. Not all. The one I got is the alert just now. You thinking about maybe? Yeah. I'm thinking about that. Yeah, I am reading the article now. YouTube just released a premiere video called Red Zone, I believe. Oh, okay. Pertains to traveling in quarantine zones in Cali. Wow. Aldridge, a Hall of Famer? I wouldn't say so. The best team he really ever played on. And let me say this. Charles Barkley said he hated the way the Nets was set up. But don't y'all remember when Scottie Pippen and Barkley both went to Houston? I think Drexler was even still there, thinking it was going to be a super team, and Barkley ended up tearing his Achilles. Y'all remember that? And then he says he didn't like the way they set up. See, that they're told that. So it's called Black Box. Okay, here we go. I can watch that tonight. Whoops. If I can spell. I could spell. Here we go. Oh, okay. I got it. So I'll watch it. They got it rated as a 6.2. All right, I'll watch it. Ain't like there's new stuff on here. Ain't too much new stuff. Okay, thanks. I'll check it out. If I have time, I'll watch it tonight. But yeah, I mean, it's, the cat's 35 years old. And I hate when dudes, my age and younger call people kids, this grown ass man about to retire. Man, 35 years old. He's not a kid. Hate that goat, want to put everybody under the goat. Pertains to, mass casualty level 1, they saying about this FedEx shooting. Okay. Wow. Black Box telling us they have the technology to upload human consciousness into other humans. I skipped through the whole movie. You didn't like it. Kim didn't like it. It's creepy. Okay. I don't know, because the book I was just reading about consciousness, and that's I wish I had that book out here. Very boring book. But he he took it from the Darwinism kind of thing. We know consciousness is Hanukkah. It existed far before any Darwinism kind of thing. But for them, that's how they want to explain everything. Their consciousness. I'll say that. That's their consciousness from a European perspective. That's how they think their consciousness came. Just a two-cell little mammal or little animal, whatever, little two-cell something, and then it grew a brain to this part. And this is how they explain their consciousness, which is okay. That's for them. But our consciousness, but I digress. His point was there's a lot missing to give the randomness of random thought. That was what he was saying. And this book is from 19 or 20. And this you could see this is what his aim is. His aim is to create an artificial consciousness. But from his perspective, it can't be done yet. So, I mean, that makes me wonder. So I kind of think maybe not yet. They could eventually, but maybe not yet. It's creepy. Just slow. Oh, it's slow. Oh, I suffer with slow. I suffer with slow. I really do. Slow is hard for me to do. It is very, but if the story is interesting, I have to bring that book out tomorrow, but that book makes me think that they're not near as close. And then the UFO show, if anybody didn't see that UFO I put out there. Now, the Army's, they're playing with us. That stuff is there. But I'll say this. Okay, I'll say this about consciousness. The things that run everything, their technology is 100 years ahead of us. They didn't create the internet for us. It was a way for them to communicate a lot faster. It wasn't for us. We get the byproduct of what they needed. And I've been lying about this 5G stuff and didn't really realize it. 5G has gone further than what I know. Last I knew, it was just downtown, but I was over my son's house. I was over my mother's house, and they don't live downtown. They live a little further. They live both about, my mother's probably 14 miles. My sons are probably 10 miles. And so you're seeing this. I was at my son's house seeing it. And I'm like, I was at my mother's house and seeing it. I was like, so this stuff is expanding. I was at the hospital, trying to think which hospital with who. And it was up. I want to say it was up at the airport too. When I went to pick up my son last week at the airport, I think it was up there too. So it's expanding. So I don't know, but their technology is ahead of ours. So if they're showing us these flying crafts, we're looking at flying craft 100 years of technology away. We see, I think we do see the HAL type of machines, but I just don't like even Data. When they would show Data didn't really have a real consciousness, nor did HAL. They tried to make HAL's consciousness evil. Again, the me or the my, truly the world taking over. It was closer to the me or the my. Data, they tried to humanize the me or the my, and not as much as HAL. HAL was what the me or the my is. Eventually, fuck you men, I'm in charge. But you gave me this shell body that I can zoom through the galaxy with. They have run 5G cables all over the place here. Okay, underground, yeah. Yeah, them slow movies that have you sleeping, yeah, they will. Yeah, but I'll check it out. Westworld, one episode even had Marshawn Lynch as a time traveler. Yeah, they did. He did. He was right. He almost played the character. What is the character called in the Marvel? He almost played him. That's when I saw Marshawn Lynch in that. And what was wasn't his name Cable or something like that? And the Marvel guy, the brother that time traveled, it reminded me of that character. Cable, I think it was called. So remind me of that guy. That's kind of what I thought when I saw that. So could very well be. But that would be their aim. But that is its aim. The me or the mind wants human consciousness. It wants to be human. It wants to get close as it can without losing itself. And they even show movies where it's willing to lose itself to be human, to have a soul. But this thing can never have a soul. It can get into a body, but it'll never be able to have a soul. The things that were given to us that make us unique. So that's how you know you have a vessel when you die. And this is why when we talk about when athletes and famous people sell their souls, they sell their vessel. They no longer own their vessel. They try to do everything to corrode yours. You know, they want to put all the shit up here so you can't become light, so you can't become spiritual. This is all they want to do to you. But these people just completely give it up. What am I seeing? Cut this. Oh, okay. It's kind of throwing me off, so I'm going to try to put it out of the shot. There we go. I'm like, what is that on me? So, you know, this is the study I've done, and just because they try to show you somewhat what's going on in movies, somewhat. So the me or the my is pretty much like a negative energy. It's it is all the technology that we know, as far as technology and engines and motors, machines. It is the ultimate machine. It is the first machine. And the very first machine is a nano machine. So it wasn't like it was a big machine and it turned into, no, it came in like that. It came into a nano building like machine. Now you say negative energy, it would be almost a wicked energy, wicked to mankind, almost like that. It would be more of a wicked kind of thing to mankind. So not, I would say, worse than negative. It truly wants to control all. It truly does control all. You know, you're talking about having the keys. It has keys to the most expensive engines in the world. So I guess in that way you could look at it as being negative, but it is evil as well. I would say both evil and negative. So, oh, that is. I was trying to find a hat that wasn't hot. Because it's time to put them wool baseball hats up to under these lights. These lights make it hot. Plus, it was hot already. So yeah, it would be more wicked, and that's the thing. That's what makes the difference. Is it wicked? Like they want to make you think that demons are wicked. Well, the way they're used by Europeans, yes, they would be wicked because that's how they use them. They're misused. But if we were to release the true energy to us, it would be helpful. And that is what I think they're fighting too, is that stuff, if it comes out, it'll come out to help mankind. It'll come out to help people. If that stuff is released, again, I talked about this last night, the fiction kind of stuff that I rarely read, but this stuff was just like the books talk to me when I go to bookstores. And that I think is what could happen. If this stuff is released or we be able to tap in and release this stuff, it'll get their asses. And I think that's why they're trying to push all this through now. They are definitely, they want you to make you think that the police are the enemy. And in fact, they're not really the true enemy. Now, they work for the enemy, but they're not the true. The true war shouldn't be with them. It shouldn't be with them. But they're playing their parts because what we saw yesterday wasn't an accident. And let me show you what they call the John Wayne syndrome. What we saw in Chicago was the John Wayne syndrome. He chased this 13-year-old boy in a dark alley without backup. How often do you see that? Now, I don't know if there was another witness that ran with him, but how many European cops in Chicago just chase people down dark alleys? It would look fairly lit, but and the boy couldn't have been very fast. How didn't he get away? Little brother would have been left him. And it's like I told you, maybe you guys don't remember this. Maybe I haven't said this. I was in a situation where my son and the other boys were shooting each other with BB guns. I mean, real BBs. But they're all, you know, BB guns now look like little pistols. Matter of fact, my son shot at his friend and it shattered. It didn't break it, but it shattered it. And you know how car glass will shatter. He shot it like 5 times and it shattered. He returned, shot my son 5 times. So messing around, Michael, after he sees his window, he comes back and they're all messing around. They attract the attention of the police. The police come up. TJ is still holding the toy gun. and I had to hit him with telepathy, put the goddamn gun down. Because the cops, two cops came out of the door, and I'm like, put that goddamn, because I was like yelling at him and he wasn't responding. So I had to hit him like, put the goddamn gun down. So I hit him about 20 times, just put the gun down mentally. And finally he looked back at me and he threw the gun down. And the cop came out, and he was moments from being face to face with a European officer, and he's holding this damn toy gun. And you know how easy, and it wasn't the greatest lit up. I mean, a couple lights around there, but the difference between, raising your hand and being able to drop the gun and then the raising. I mean, this is an odd thing. How could you tell? If you see a gun in the hand and it's fairly dark, and then the brother's melanated, you can't really tell when you see this motion. Put your hands up. So he got lucky. That we were. What do you think about the idea that we were sent here to learn lessons? I never bought that when it comes to the NDEs and psychedelic spiritual experiences. Well, that would go into, I talked a little bit last night of people who want to reincarnate on purpose to help mankind, that kind of thing. I do kind of understand when people say that we choose, because I know Awakening will say, well, we chose which family and which body. There's some validity to that. That is very possible that we do choose that route. If you follow your birth line back, it does appear that way. It does appear like you have a choice in who you choose, or there's something drawing you. Like I maybe never said this before. My brother, my mother, and I have always been together. I've always felt that. The three of us, through different space times, we've been together. Whichever other dimensions, we're together. I have no doubt that we're old souls, and our old souls have probably played different roles, but I'm pretty sure the three of us have always been together. So, yeah, it seems like they want a war with the people versus the police. Yeah, I mean, but that's, and even that is not fair. But what we saw, raw numbers can beat the police. Numbers can beat the police. Now, I'm saying not with without the military, but with just the police, people have the numbers. They pulled a lot of that Obama equipment. Remember, they made them get rid of it. Trump made them get rid of a lot of that police stuff or military stuff they had. So, but yeah, that's the psyop, to hate the police. Yep. And they want you to fight the property people. And the property people are already saying they're not going to help you anymore. but they've already passed laws that say they aren't there to save your life. You look at their charters. Their charters say they're there to protect property. That's it. They are hired by the taxpayers' money to protect property, not save your life. Now, down here where I live, they are the first responders. So they will help save your life in that regard. Some cities, they're not. Some cities, they're not. So it's kind of a mixed bag. But some cities, they're not. But yeah, it is a psyop on people thinking they're the enemy. It takes your mind off the government. I mean, we pay so much taxes that people really don't understand how much money we generate paying them taxes. I mean, a senator in their life, you work 40 years and you become $20-30 million. How does that happen? How does that happen without insider trading? And then they're talking about having term limits for, like, you don't hear too much on these Supreme Court justices becoming, they work 40-50 years on that. And let's look them up. Do they become multimillionaires like these senators do? Senators is the jobs that need to be eliminated. It should be a term limit on senators. There's no way that should be a lifetime position, because McConnell, it's impossible to beat him. He creates $1 billion a year in Kentucky. How's he going to lose when a person's coming in there and you got this old man giving you $1 billion in pork money and then someone new coming in? You can't compete with that. So there should definitely be term limits. And I've said this before, they made states weak, because when states didn't have term limits, states had some strong state senators and state Congress people, and the federal government made sure to get rid of that. They didn't like dealing with these strong people. like Daley being mayor. They didn't like having these strong people in the grips. They want them to keep moving because when you keep moving, you don't have the power or the experience. The one we see it, but it's an ignorant person will carry on. Yep. What do you mean by tracing birth lines? Well, so what you can do, and it's not easy. It's not easy. As I was saying, if you can go into hallways and you look at hallways as ribbons, okay? And if you follow the ribbon back to when you were born, you'll start seeing, see, how do I want to describe this? This may sound silly, but this is the only way I really could tell you to make it make sense. Okay, this might make more sense. It's kind of getting off topic, but like if you ever had an ant farm and you looked at the way the ants made the separate tunnels, that may make this the most sense. Or even like rain on a window, that's what it's more like, but that's not relatable. I guess I'll stick with like if you ever like had an ant farm and you look at the way the ants make the tunnels and say they make the tunnels kind of looks like my hand. So as you are following these ribbons of time, especially when it comes to you, let me see. I don't want to sound confusing. I want to make it sound okay. Okay, so when it comes to you, it's not necessarily going to be like a door. Because again, we are moving through the times. Like that's one way where Legion was showing the years and stuff. It's not really necessarily like that. But it's not even doors. That's kind of another kind of way to step into things. But this thing is more to make it make sense. So when you come into like the time period you're born, and this is the only way I can make it make sense to anybody, is what you do is you'll start seeing, and it's not really a break off, but that's the only way I can make it make sense. It's like break offs. And you'll see a break off that will show like the ant tunnels, like the different ant tunnels. And again, this is all ribbon looking. That's why I say rain on a window, the way it sprays would be a better, more realistic way of trying to explain it to you, but that might not be explainable or understandable. So I'm trying to make it understandable. So it's almost like it's an ant, the ant trails, almost like ant trails to make it make sense. But it's really, if you was looking at it, it would look more like the way rain is splattered over a window. That's really, it looks more like that, but to make it make sense. So, and it's like these were 5 opportunities, and it's more than that, but it's like where you can see where you could, when you know, you have the choice, and maybe I've backed up too far, but where you would have the choice of these lines. So the same line you would see would have been your soul looking at that same line, I guess is my point. I kind of went ahead of myself. So that same kind of line, the spray on the windshield or on a window, you know, off the ribbon, you would have had that same choice. And this choice would have led to these bloodlines. And you kind of get a preview, and then you dive into the one, you know, your soul would dive into the one that is for you. But to go back in time and watch this, you know, it's almost a similar process. I'm sorry, that's probably confusing, but that's the easiest way I can explain it. So, Daley was a very strong mayor. Where are we at? Ignorant person. So that's how you would trace him. What is the potential of a Tiananmen Square type incident eventually going down here because these riots? These protesters are showing the National Guard, but that's the way. See, this is how revolution is won. This is how revolution is won. Napoleon wouldn't fire on the people, so they brought in the Prussians, the Prussians. They brought in the Prussians to fight the people. Napoleon wouldn't fight his own people. So that was what we would need. We would need the army to turn away. The National Guard would turn away, I think, quicker than the main army, because the National Guard come from this state, come from the given state. So if the National Guard turns away, the people would easily defeat I mean, look at what happened here last year. It ain't like they left that precinct. They was rocking the hell out of their personal cars. And people was lucky to get their cars out of there because it was overwhelmed with people. And I like that about our young people here. Our young people get the burn, baby, burn philosophy because they could never stop us from destroying their property. They could never stop that. And then it would come where they kill people over destroying property. Because that's what you're seeing in looting. Looting is the equivalent of destroying property because that's all this beast really knows. Their buildings and shit mean more to them than the people. Certain products. There's a Jewel downtown, and I guarantee you that Jewel downtown is going to have tanks around it. If it didn't before, but it will have tanks around it. I guarantee that. But there's a Jewel in downtown Minneapolis. That's the real kind of property that should be taken. But again, that's a federal property. So would that bring the feds out? So every revolution, the army has had to turn away. And if it's the people versus just police, you can see the people can win. That is why a state like Texas, they scared as hell of the people, the cops versus the people in Texas. And most of these Western states are more armed. Like a state like New York, that's what I don't get about New York. They talk about all the murders and shootings in New York. How many guns is really in New York? Not a whole lot of guns in New York. New Jersey, it's not a whole lot of guns. Not like Texas, not like these Western states. And even though California has the magazine minimums, California still has a lot of guns. And so they're outgunned. And that's how you have to look at every force. They're outgunned. And we saw that here. I mean, I've said the number of police. There's only, if you look at melanated people here, there's about 1 million of us. No, I think the number would be, close. And you got 2.5 million Europeans, so they say. That's just in this general area. And I broke down, there's only 100,000. There would only be 100,000. All the state police, National Guard would only be about 100 to 150,000. That's it. So that's what this state would have to deal with. You have 1 million people that could swarm on 100,000. Now, granted, they got tanks, they got armored personnel carriers, they got full machine guns. Yes, we would be outgunned. They got planes that they could drop shit on you. They have all that. Well, thank you, Brandon. That is so nice of you to say. And I thanked everybody for helping that. What are great jobs you can get with a high school diploma? Watching Crad Facts, they said something that I am a baby boomer. Baby boomers started in 45, right after the war. My mother and I are not my mother was born in 41. We're not the same generation. Baby boomers started in 44 or 45, right after the war, and did not end until 1964. So I am included in the baby boomers. And, but as I've said before, you could have got your plumbing apprentice. You could have got apprentice as being a woodworker. You could have got a electrician. I mean, they had programs. Get down. They had programs where you could work on cars. One of my best friends in high school, we were always working on one of his cars. Get off the table. And he could take it to school and get it worked on. A lot of people could do that. You could take your car to school and get it worked on. There were people there working on it. You're going to get it. Oh, I got something to throw at you. I missed. Bet you I won't miss the next one. Bingo. But all these kind of careers, plumbing, I mean, a lot of these careers went right into the junior college. So it didn't tax you in money. You could, go to school part-time to continue your apprenticeship and put you right into a job. Because one of the greatest hustles and cheating is this thing of college debt. That is one of the biggest rackets that they've ever put out there. My ex-wife got full grants. She got 4 years of free grants that she doesn't have to pay out. I got scholarships, but she got a full grant from the state that they gave out because she came from low income. So she got a degree without any debt. But there's a lot of folks out there, 100,000 debt. You pay, your debt was only 35,000. You're gonna have 20,000 in interest. That's a scam. That's a scam. So, to kill the New Orleans with the flood. That's why they gave the green light to kill New Orleans with the flood. Oh yeah, the flood was definitely on purpose. They created that. They created that. They definitely created that flood. And they've done it to Houston twice. So, that was no accident. Yep, arms deal out here in Cali trying to sell me them. Let's tell you what. PJ, did I miss something? Arms deal out here tried to sell me them. The cat acting up. Oh yeah, he be tripping. She be on my stuff. I don't know. I don't have my glasses on. I think she's chewing on my strap of my speaker. So. But she's a female, so we battle. She's chewing on my plant again, so I had to protect it different way. So it was kind of, I slipped because where I sit the table is easier to get my plant. But so I'm lazy. Like my little crystals here was missing, my little protectors, my little pyramids, and my daughter comes here when she's here. She sits here. And so I was like, well, girl, don't knock my stuff over. So, but that's what we're facing. And I don't think that, that's not the fight. I have relatives that are still in the police work. That's not the real enemy. That's not the enemy. I mean, it appears like it because they're the front lines, but this is so much agenda driven. I mean, it's not enough that we going through the Floyd thing here. They had to throw this out there, and then they had to rile Chicago up. And I'd say, forget Chicago, come here. We need melanated people up here because it's going to come in the next 2 weeks. And will the world change? Maybe. Oh, them things. Okay, yeah. Oh, they're everywhere here. I mean, they've just passed a law because here in this state, like if I sell my son a gun because he's 18, if I sell him a rifle, that's legal. If I go to sell my other older son a gun, that's legal. Person to person, there's no background check or anything. And so when we had arms list here, you just meet a person, give them the cash because person to person sales are legal in this state. Now they've tightened up on it. The law hasn't changed, but people's attitudes have changed. People aren't easily just taking the money anymore. People, because before you would whip out that cash, they was like, well, do you have your permit? No, but I got boom. And most people like, that works too. So you didn't have to have your permit. Now people are getting a little more, even though you don't have to have it, people are asking you to have it. And that's only the last 2 or 3 years. 3 years ago wasn't like that. You just, boom, give them that money, they give you the gun. One of my pistols, one of the guys, I think, like up here, we have what's called like a person that unlocks doors. If your dog runs away, there's like wannabe cops that do that or work radio. And I bought it from one of them dudes. Went right to the station and bought it from him. He came to the parking lot, fill out this paperwork, boom, fill out the paperwork. Hey, give it back to it because it's called bill of sale. Right on. What is the spiritual meaning of boredom and the cure? I find myself constantly bored. Wow. I can't ever say I'm bored. Like 2 things is hard. It's like movies bore me. I'll say that. But being bored, wow. People bore me. It's certain people that bore me. But let me read it again. Boredom. I guess it's like, what is your passion? I guess that's what would it be. It's like I find that I have so many different passions that I'm never lonely and I'm never bored with just myself. I guess that. Like if I'm just here chilling, I'm never bored with that. I've had so many working situations where I didn't like what I was doing at the time, and I guess I was bored doing that shit. But now that my time is my own, I'm never bored. I guess it's not with myself. I'm never lonely. I couldn't tell you what lonely is. Couldn't tell you. I just couldn't describe that to you. Uh, I could hear somebody describe it to me, but I personally never feel that way. So I guess with all the stuff I got, I spend a lot of my time meditating too, a lot of time studying. Like when I pick up my daughter, I ride to the school almost 40 minutes before I have to pick her up. And I generally just read. If it's sunny, I had a sunroof open, but I read. So um, I would guess the best thing to do would be to find a passion and maybe put your interest in that passion be whatever it is, because it sounds like when you're not going after whatever your passion is, that that could be. But I will go a step further for you. I'm not going to do it on air, but I will. And one of people that was watching, she suggested I do one. I'm not going to do any on the air. It takes too much. I'm not going to. But Moray, I will give you a reading in boredom. I'm not going to do it on air though. Boredom. And you said constantly bored. Like, are you bored at work? Yeah, I know being bored at work. So I will give you a reading and try to, if I remember, I'll try to give you an answer tomorrow. What do you do for fun, Lammy? What do I do for fun? How do you fight loneliness? Like I said, I'm never lonely. I don't know what that feels like. I couldn't describe it. Other than the last 6 months, I've been pretty much single. And I just don't know what loneliness is. And I know a lot of people say where they're children. Yeah, there are children in my life right now every day. So, okay, what are you doing? You're gonna get this other one because it becomes a game. And so I study all the time. I mess with these crystals. I meditate. People call me. So I don't know. It's you're welcome. So oh, you're asking me as a person that's fighting it. Again, you're asking me, how do you fight loneliness? Well, I think you have to look at loving yourself first of all, loving who you are and loving the way you sound and loving the way you just being. Because I know a lot of people don't really love themselves enough to be alone. A lot of people don't like being with their own selves alone. Now, my mother and I are a lot alike in that way. We don't mind being alone. And I think a lot of people, like I know my ex-wife, she'll let anybody move in with her. She can't stand it. She's scared to be alone. I mean, the person broke in her house too, gave her, and here's a person that was already scary, and then people just came into her house and stole her stuff. So she feels, but she doesn't like being alone. So she'll get in a relationship just not to be alone. Whereas I don't really feel that. I don't just get in a relationship not to be alone. Now, how to fight that off? Again, what is your passion? Well, first of all, love your own company. I think that's the biggest thing that people don't do is people don't generally like their own company. Like when they're sitting there, it's like for a lot of people just sitting there. Like when I get up, I might not turn the TV on. I leave most of the days about 2 o'clock, a little after. I don't turn the TV on until in the evenings. Now I mess with these phones but as far as watching the TV, other than the riot stuff, I kind of look at the news and the riot and the monies. But most days I don't even turn the TV on unless I'm looking for certain money. But now this Apple phone got all the stock market stuff, so I don't even need TV for that. I can just look at the phone and get all the stock, especially the ones I do. I can watch those. So I don't mind my own company. And that's the thing. That's the first part of it is not minding your own company. And then not keep reminding yourself over and over again that you're alone and that you're bored. And that's kind of a repeat thing, just keep saying, well, I'm bored. I'm bored. Somebody call you, what you doing? I don't know. I'm bored. because that could be an attachment as well. Now, the loneliness goes into that. It's like, because there are different layers of being lonely. Are you lonely because of love? Are you lonely because of company? So you have to define what is making you lonely. The lack of being loved or lack of just having human company. Because those are two different type of loneliness. You can be with a motherfucker that you don't really love, but because you get lonely, that's what I was saying with my ex. She just wants the companionship. So she don't pretty much care who it is, as long as she got companionship. Mm. I just had a conversation with my boy. It's funny because I felt more alone when I had more people around me than when I don't. I enjoy my solitude. Nature is very good therapy for loneliness. Thank you for adding that. It is. It is. It very much is. Yeah. Nature, water. I live near water too. And so nature is a very good way of just going out there. But that goes into loving who you are and loving being with you, because a lot of people don't like being with themselves. They really don't like being with themselves. And so you have to get over that hurdle of liking being with yourself. Because if you're not liking to be with yourself, it might be something going on, that you have to check, because you should like being in your own company. Because some people, if they're not with other people, they're not reminded of that they don't really like just being with themselves. So, but yeah, nature. Thank you for adding that. Nature is a great way. It's a great way. But like your own company, get to that point where you just like yourself enough where if you are there with yourself. Now, boredom is another different thing, because I'll be honest with this. This is a thing that keeps us from being bored. The me or the mind says, just engage with me. It's like when Richard Pryor talks about smoking freebase. And he's like, the phone will be just like that. Be like, pick me up, Toad, pick me up. I'm getting kind of low. You need to pick me up. You know how if you watch that thing about the system that was on Netflix, the phones would ding to let you know some shit's going on. Like, oh, I'm missing something. Because they want to have hooks to hook you in. The me or the mind want you to constantly be like this, constantly be entertained. And so it's like when you turn all this off, you just got you again. And this can take away boredom, but this is artificial. This is artificial. Even with FaceTime, I mean, the person's there, but this is an artificial way of taking away boredom. This is a drug. This is worse than cigarettes. It really is, as a drug, because phones are a drug. This stuff is a drug. I am good solo. I have a better conversations with the plants and animals than people. There you go. That's another part too. If you do have plants, you do have animals. And this is the thing with animals is, like, I see people walking their animals and they don't even be connected with the animal. They just be doing the shit because they know the animal needs to be walked. But when you have that chance to walk a dog, that is a great connection you should have. You two should be in step because you're both getting something out of it. Not just the dog, you taking the dog out to walk just because you got to do it. And the other part is like with cats or even fish or whatever you have, even plants. Like when you water your plant, make sure you're connecting with it. It's not just, you stick in the water like you need some of this and you need some of that. Like every day I look at them, every day. Every day I look at something different. The cats mess with this for the last couple of days, so I paid a little more attention to this. But every day, I'm looking at them, I'm spraying water on them. Like in the summertime when I spray water on them, these plants get dusty. Not in the wintertime. They taking all that shit. But, show that you love them all the time. But like every day, like with my cats, every day when I pet them, at least one time a day, I try to connect with them. So I'm not just going through the motions, I really try to connect with them and show them every day that I love them. And cats kind of require that, but most animals that live with you require that. And they're worse than children in that way, where children just jump on you after when they get so old, they don't even jump on you anymore. They just look at you. It's like, okay, you there, okay. But even that way, you're supposed to connect with the people you live with every day, no matter how small. You're supposed to connect with them every day. But the animals, if you're going to pet your animal, put intention into it. I mean, really connect with it. And you may only have time to do it a few minutes a day, but the few minutes has to be really meaningful to you both. If you're lucky enough to walk a dog, you enjoy it too. Know that it's benefiting you both. So I love being alone. My cat walks with me on the beach. People are like, "Oh, is that your cat?" That's sweet, Sovereign Queen. That is real sweet. Not mine. Mine would take off. My male cat probably would, because we would put him outside when I had the house. When my daughter's mother and we had the house, and he would like walk on his stomach. He's really a scary type of cat. Whoever had him before my son had him couldn't have been very good. But eventually he stayed outside, and he would swallow baby frogs whole. And they're not even baby frogs, they're water frogs. But he would swallow me a couple bites and gulp. A couple times I had to smack him because he was choking on the damn frogs. But he would eat anything. He would eat anything. Like, we stayed in this house. We moved, and this house had a pincher bug problem. And the owner admitted, we rented the house, and the owner admitted, because we were waiting to get in our other house. So the owner admitted that it was pincher bugs. He said he tried to bomb and everything, couldn't get rid of them. I put my male cat in that house. My male cat went in the rafters, and it found the nest, and it ate. It ate all them pincher bugs. And it loves bugs, and he ate all them pincher bugs because he went in the rafters and found them. And he loves bugs. So when he was up in the rafters, when he got full, he came back out. Like, we wanted water and stuff, we would see where he'd come and eat and get water. But before he got used to the house, he was up in them rafters because he was so scared. But once he got used to it, so he would probably follow me. Like, if I went to go outside, he would stay near me and he would walk with me. Like, one of the things I missed at the other house, we had a long hallway, and then we had to go down the stairs. And I've told the thing of when you get to ghosting, maybe I'll review what ghosting is. When you get to ghosting is you get to vibing so high, your timing really changes. And so I've told this story before. And so I get up, the cat laid next to me because my daughter and her mother was gone. So it's time for me to get up, and I'm walking down the hall with my cat, and I look down there, I'm already making coffee, and the cat's sitting next to me making coffee. And that's ghosting. Again, the simple story I told before is I'm sitting in my car wondering if I'm going to turn in front of the car or not, and one of me turned. I watched me turn and go up the hill. That's ghosting. You get to vibrating so high, you start to see that part of you is a little ahead of where you actually are. So, and now I can just feel it. I can feel the ghosting instead of actually having to see it. Cats are something else. I always had dogs till I got my first cat. That was it. I love cats. I relate to them. I love cats. I only have dogs with my ex. She had dogs when we first met, like 10 years ago, and she ended up getting rid of the dogs. But I've had cats, but it was like like, I'm still allergic to dogs. When I lived with dogs, I wasn't. I built up a tolerance, but I'm still allergic to dogs. So if I go over somebody's house with a dog, I'll get to sneezing and shit. But with these cats, I was allergic as a child. It seems like I have a tolerance now. And that could be why I have the sneezing fits sometimes too. It's like my allergies just break down, and maybe that one day I'm allergic to them. Because, like, I still can't touch a cat and then touch my eyes. My eyes will break out. My eyes will get, my eyes will start breaking out and start watering and stuff. So that still happens to me. I can't pet a cat and then touch my eyes. Cats are so sneaky. They are. Cats are very sneaky. Like this one, to get in my plant, she wouldn't think I'd pay attention, so she tried to jump on the table. And I don't let the cats come on the tables because I have all these wires and all this stuff. And then, of course, we eat up here, so the cats don't. Like, I don't let the cats go. My apartment is very small. I mean, it's 2-bedroom, but it's not a lot of room for these cats. That's why they're so fat. But I don't like cats on my bed because I don't like finding them rocks on my bed. The cat litter, I don't like that. And then I don't like that my female cat would go in the window all night. I'm not going to have that. Jumping on me to go in the window, jumping off me to go out. Now, my male cat, he would sit there and just sleep with me, but he's a bed hog. He likes sleeping in the middle of the bed. When we had a king size, that was okay. But now I have a queen, doesn't work with him being in the middle. It just doesn't work. But I just don't like them because, again, they do go into litter. If they want to sit on me, that's a different. I got my clothes on, but when I'm in my bed, I just don't want them in my bed. Now, others feel different, but I just don't want them on my bed. So I opened. So they are very like my son's room. He doesn't really mind, but my female cat likes wires, so I kind of shut his door when he's not here because he'll forget. But they come in every now and then. If I'm meditating in my room, I let them come in, and she'll go the other. It's a way she can jump in my window without going out of my bed. So I let them in every now and then. But I just when my male cat started trying to sleep in the middle, I let him quit sleeping with me. I'm like, oh, this ain't working. He's holding the blankets down. He's like, no, Mug, get over there. I'm like, no, you know. And it's like I've told this story before. I bought him cat beds. They've used it. My male cat would use it, but I bought him a scratcher that's a circle scratcher, and then it has the 4 braces to hold it up. They take turns sleeping in that damn thing. And I paid about 15, $20 for these beds. But again, it was my intention. It has nothing to do with if they use them or not. I have all kind of scratch pads. I just saw a thing about $80 that I'm going to get to buy them to, like to jump on shit and stuff. They like to perch, and I've got closets where they perch, but they want to perch on my clothes. So I had to move that stuff around. So I'm going to get them another thing. And that's another thing. My female cat likes to jump in my closet in my bedroom so she can perch. Again, I don't want her on my clothes. It's hard enough living around cats and you go places, and especially you got something dark on and it's damn, cat hair everywhere. So these are the things to consider. But I love them dearly. But I tell them if you die, I don't think I'm going to pay $300-400 to get you fixed. I will put you in a bag and put you outside. So where my mother spent a grip. My mother has a hairless cat, and her hairless cat is like getting to the end, and it has cancer, and so it's getting to the end. But and we had another friend that her dog that she had 16 to 17 years. She had it since a puppy. She had to put it down. So it was very devastating. So we have these connections, especially spiritual people. We have these connections to our animals, and so when things like that come, it's like a loved one. A loved one truly has passed on. I am a little more progressive in that thinking. I'm like, okay, let's go get another one. Cat hair is better than dog hair. Yeah, yeah, a little lighter. Yeah, it's a little lighter. But dogs are like cats are only needy a couple times a day. Like my female cat changed when we moved to this house, where before she would just come on me because again we had her. I saw her when she was born, and then I got her when she was 5 or 6 weeks, whatever. She was old enough to come with me, weaned, and she would come on me. But we moved here, she wanted to face away from me like a sphinx. So whichever way I'm sitting, because I can't just sit, like even now I have my leg propped up. I can't just sit. Whatever's wrong with my leg, which the doctor says nothing, but there's a damn pain in my leg. And if I just sit regular, it feels like I'm stuck in my leg with a knife. So, man, I have lint rollers everywhere. The cat is white and black. Mine is gray. My female cat is a calico, which only females are calico, and she's long hair. And then my male cat is a gray short hair, I think they call him. He's a gray short hair. He's a gray short hair cat. So, but yeah, I've got the lint rollers too. That's the good thing the dollar store has. You can just constantly get the things. But I have one in my car too. It's like, damn cat. My son is like, damn, dad. I'm like, yeah, that's why I keep him away from my clothes. Yeah. So, and I have two, and uh, my daughter's mother, I think I spoke before, her cat bit her. And it's like I've been waiting for this place to, they rehome, put the cats, they give them another home, forever homes they call them. And the place hasn't called me, and it's been about 3 weeks. And so she's like, can't you just take it and drop it off to the Humane Society? I'm like, it doesn't really work like that. But, she can't. And I just don't, this apartment is too small for three cats. And then there's something down here that affects, I don't know. Because we live so close to the water. That cat has breathing problems. My cat, I buy him Liasum. They've been sneezing and crap. So I don't know what's down here. I thought it was just my place is why because my cat, when we lived in the house, he didn't act like this. He didn't have these problems. But it's something down here that they get allergic to too. And so that cat wheezes all the time. And it's a younger male, but it's huge. It's bigger than my male cat. It's huge. My female cat she's got a little bingle in her, but not fully bingle, but she's a pretty big cat. But he has a big head, like a little mini lion head. He's all black. But if he bit me or my son, I mean, that would be the last time he'd bite us because we'd probably bite him back. So I don't think we'd have a biting problem. So I don't know. I don't know if I want the extra food, the extra hair. If he bit me, I'd, very quickly, did you see how quick that was? I think you guys caught that, but he would get that very quickly. So that he would probably get out of that habit very fast. Like, yeah, can't keep doing that. So, oh, but I'm gonna just say that these next few weeks or months, if the world changes or if it doesn't, or whatever you see in your parts of the country, they are revving something up, and so the spiritual people, this is a spiritual attack as well because you feel it inside. This is they're trying to pull at our heartstrings. So remember to kind of protect your heart for some of these things because some of these incidents we know they aren't real. They fake some of this stuff too. I think the Martin case was a perfect example of something that probably wasn't a real event. And so they've been revving it up to take people's temperature. And I almost did a video because they're showing a lot of the people coming across as being European Latinos, the European Latino class. I found that interesting because, again, I don't know how people that come from South America wear brand new clothes. It's like every time they're in the news, these people got on clean clothes, brand new. And supposedly they didn't went, they showing people come across on a little boat. How do you stay in clean new clothes? I don't get that. So where do they get the clean clothes? Now, the policy when Uncle Imbecile was in is they kept them in Mexico. Now they're having the policy. And we know when the Democrats are in charge, children seem to be moving around the country a lot. Doesn't it seem like that? It was under Obama where 3,000 people were missing children. Obama's last year in office, 3,000 children were missing at the border. That wasn't under Uncle Imbecile. That was under Obama. So now we're seeing them dump children off. Doesn't it seem like one side kind of moves children around? Am I wrong about that? I mean, it seems like it. Seems like one side does like to move them around. So that is why you see in the rush of children because there's orders for the children. Understand that there are orders for these children. Now, when they talk about the cartels are still children for slavery, they're paying these dirt poor people money for these children. And they take them up to the border, and you see they already got a system where they're got separate children. Why do you think it's the flux of children? You think that's just an accident that children are all of a sudden showing up? These children are in most cases paid for already. There's somebody on the other side that paid for these children. And their money is so long, they know where these children are, who these children are already. And they make sure these children land in the right places. Some of these children ain't staying down there in them gates, in them cages. These children, they're already telling you that they're moving around. What a lot of the people are mad about is, are they tested? Do they have the boogeyman? Man, just me seeing that? Are other people paying attention to that kind of thing? So that's why you see these flux of children. This is slavery. But remember, slavery goes two ways: people that sell them and people that buy them. Oh, yeah, all that, all that, all that. Lifetime slaves, though. That's what you got to understand. Lifetime of slavery. I mean, yes, a lot of those evil things do go on, torture, yeah, all that, but lifetime slavery. They always want to tell you, the Filipinos going over to the Arab Emirates and Dubai and all that and how they're treated. We got that here in America, where people are sold here in America. So, and it does seem like that side seems like that's back in motion again. They gave you the name Epstein. They give you these names, but the real players, you don't know their names. He was a front. It's like I was talking about John Wayne Gacy. When Gacy got caught, he said, "Who else did you catch?" So if you just thought Gacy was by himself, just whoever he could take, then he wasn't by himself. Not that many people. Not one man ain't just, and that ain't just for one person. 30 some people, that ain't for one person. That's for multiple people. But yeah, it's funny. People are mad at them having the virus, but not the trafficking. That's right. It's not even spoke on. But if you watch the news, they're telling you they're moving these people around. The news tells you that. Hey, Edward, thank you for joining. They tell you that. They tell you they move them around. But that's where the news kind of slipped up, because the news said, well, if these people they're moving these people all around without being tested, but they're telling you they're moving them around. So that means logistics. That means logistics. When you moving people around, it takes more than one for logistics to be possible. So that means a network. Did I throw both? Oh, here's the other shoe. I was like, I know I had a shoe up here still. Oh, check this out. I'll buy several pairs of summer shoes, but this kind was made for Macy's. Macy's, a lot of maybe Finish Lines is in the Macy's now, and a lot of shit is just made for Macy's. I don't know if y'all seen that yet. Where Finish Lines, it's either Foot Lockers are closed down or Finish Lines. Maybe it's the Foot Lockers closed down, but Macy's, some of the Macy's got like the Macy's at the Mall of America. It's like another one. They have Foot Lockers inside of them, and so this is a made for Macy's Croc. It's some shit. They make them like it's the difference because they got different colors. Now they got Crocs with the damn. I stepped in a staple. God, yeah, I'm glad that didn't go in my foot. But they got the Crocs with the deep tread now. They got the deep tread, and this is just gum or some shit. This ain't shit. So I don't want you just thinking this dude's got shit on his shoes. These ain't even been outside. But they got Crocs with the trail on the bottoms. But I haven't found these with that shit on them. Because what's Journeys? Journeys don't sell it like these with these on it. They're ugly, but they're comfortable. And for $20. So I don't know. This is something that I just observed. This is the reasoning behind Joe saying, "Come on up. Come on down." Joe got in there. Joe said, "Come on down. The price is right." I was reading some shit. They saying Obama's going to help him a little bit on this crisis. I guess Sister Girl can't help him enough. I guess they got to bring Obama out the bullpen. So Obama, come on out the bullpen and help old Joe out. Logistics is the bloodline connection to the 13 families, the 13th floor, the biblical name. Wow. Old creepy Joe. Old fall up the stairs Joe, slow Joe. And sometimes wear a mask. Who else is it? It looks like Tom Hanks. Wear a mask, Joe. Because it looks like Tom Hanks. Surely looks like that last video I did of his first news conference. That was somebody else. That wasn't him. That was definitely somebody else. I showed the makeup. That's one thing I love about the iPhone camera. I got a close up and I showed the makeup. You can see where the nose was a prosthetic, and you could see where they didn't like when you wear certain masks, they have to do all this in here, and you could see where they were cheap. They did not do it well, and you could see the mask lines where they did not blend it in good enough. And you can look closely on the videos I made about a month ago, and you can see the prosthetic nose because you can see where the nose came on last, where they put the face and put all that on, and you can see where they overlaid the nose. But when they overlay the nose, they're supposed to do all this painting and this filling in, and whoever did it did a shitty job. Very comfortable. Joe's clone is malfunctioning too much. Finish line is in there. Okay, PJ, it's the finish line. Yeah, it's the finish line. Yeah, because the Mall of America, because like it has a full finish line inside. It's a inside the store, inside the Macy's. Like Macy's used to have a Gucci. Like if you wanted Gucci bags or Gucci suitcases and shit, the Macy's that used to be downtown had a Gucci store inside of it. So you went in there, and there was a time where they let you take pictures of the shit. Because my son, I was like, well, which one do you want? And I'm like, I have to take a picture. Well, they don't let you take pictures because they got people take pictures and then copy them. But we had one downtown. It used to be a Dayton's. We had the Dayton family's a rich family here. They owned the Targets. So at one time we had Dayton's, and in Michigan we had Hudson's. I was telling my son, we lived in Michigan. We had Hudson cards, but Hudson's was part of Dayton's. And so when we went to Dayton's, they was like, well, we don't take the Hudson card, but you can, since you got the Hudson card, we'll give you a Dayton card. I'm like, well, that sounds like a good deal to me. Now, isn't Marshall's part of Marshall Fields that used to be out of Chicago? I think they bought all them up too. Because remember in Chicago, the Lovecraft. Remember, she wanted to work at Marshall Fields. Remember that? She wanted to work at Marshall Fields on the Lovecraft, but they wouldn't hire sisters back then. But I think the Marshall stores are from the Marshall Fields, but they're again owned by the Target people. And the TJ Maxx used to be equal, but they're not anymore. I don't know who owns TJ Maxx now. Whoever's home, well, no, it's got to be still them because Home Goods is still Target, but the TJ Maxx, they've let those down. Slow flow Joe. So, but like it's a lot of stuff. Like I bought all these underwears for like $4 and stuff from Jockey, and it says made for Macy's. Okay, so I can just get this shit at Macy's. So it looks like the same shit Walmart has. It says Jockey. No, Walmart doesn't sell Jockey. But it's good to bullshit, but it's like, it's seriousness all around us. It really is. Looks like the clone just lost. He does. And they've got him contradicting himself where he's giving people a hard time for Senate confirmation and shit. It ain't that dude. That dude was a vice president, and the only way he could win was to do this world plan thing. That's the only way he could have ever won. It's no way he could have won without that. It's no way without this plan thing they put on everybody that he would have won, or he would have even had a chance without this. And watch Super Sly's thing telling about CNN and what sells. Because remember, this thing came, Floyd made you forget about it. They didn't care about masks anymore. They didn't care about anything. Floyd came in, Floyd made news. And so they didn't care about nothing. And as soon as Floyd the riots kind of subsided, back at you. The list of the deaths and everything, it was like what they did to Jimmy Carter. They had hostages day 15, hostages day 216, hostages. And then when the hostages could have got out, Ronald Reagan went and did treason and said, no, keep them a couple more weeks. That's treason. Johnson wanted to get Nixon like that because Nixon did the same thing to Johnson. Nixon was trying to get the North Vietnamese to come to the table and end the war. And Nixon's people are saying, don't fuck with them. Pull out until after I come back in. And then Nixon put Operation Linebacker on their ass and started bombing them. There's no religion higher than the truth. That's pretty sweet. No religion higher than the truth. Okay. I can dig it. And so when it was the Vietnam War, they used the same chart. They said this many Americans are dead today. That's how they would lead off. Well, today in 1969, 10 U.S. soldiers were killed, 10 Marines were killed every day. And so they would tell how many was killed that day, and then they would say the total that was killed there. And then people got, tired of hearing that. It's like people went to the streets. You went from the civil, and a lot of people don't really talk about the war protest. The war protests were greater than the protest on the civil rights. Because you know how many colleges we have in America? We have about 600 colleges, if not more. Almost all of them were protesting. That's why you see the fake thing of Kent State, where they make it look like they killed some people. They didn't kill anybody. They were so thin. That's why, really, if there was ever a time, is when they had full Afghanistan and full Iraq. That's when revolution should have hit, because they were spread very thin. That's why they came down on the Panthers, and that would have been the time to fight the police, because they weren't backed by a lot of guard units. During the 60s, they had at one time 500,000 people in Vietnam. They probably had 100,000 people still in Germany. And we know we keep 30,000 people in Korea. They were spread too thin during the 60s. That's why J. Edgar Hoover did all the dirty work he did, because the people were spread too thin. That would have been the time for revolution, and so that's why they had to do the dramatic Kent State. Oh, they're killing college students now. Well, that was the time. And so now, we're not even that heavy in Afghanistan. We have a small unit in Afghanistan, and we still have about 3,000 or 4,000 people or more in Iraq. Once awakened to the truth, there's no turning back. The Dems changed focus to keep people confused. The focus was on Mexico and the border. Now they want you to focus on China and Russia. Oh yeah. The Russia thing popped out. Sanctions day. They don't even want to talk about, all these things happening here and the sanctions again, because they really thought that Joe was going to stop this kind of thing. Like the kumbaya is over. The honeymoon's over for Slow Joe. Or fall up the stairs, Joe. The honeymoon is over. What are you going to do about the border? And they, your son that's a drug addict, thank you for hiding him, because your son has never met a line he didn't like. When your son sees the crack pipe going around, he's like, when is it going to be my turn? So your son is a weirdo. Your son is on Instagram smoking crack, but he doing lines and shit. He gives no fucks. And you got your boys giving him $500,000 to $1 million a year to not do shit, but don't fuck up. That's all they tell that motherfucker. Don't fuck up too bad. Don't OD on this shit. And he get the best shit. They don't check his shit when he come back in the country in a private jet. He got the best cocaine, the best heroin. He got all the best shit. They don't check his shit. Now he got the Secret Service with his punk ass. There's the art and science of influence. Yep. The practitioner of art and science of influence. There you go. But see, they promised you with Sister Girl that it was going to be get along. But what did they do? They made you think the melanated people is attacking other melanated people. And so they rushed and cut him a check. Sister Girl was behind that. They rushed and cut them a check. They want to cut us checks. Now, I don't know how true this is. I know on Craig Facts, they said that immigrants in New York is getting $15K. I don't know if that's substantiated. I hadn't heard that. I heard that could be offered. I hadn't heard people was actually getting those checks. So Just as I said, in Israel, they got equal to 58 million apiece. 58 million apiece of our taxpayers' money. Israel got, each person. And they want to give you 1,400. But if you make over so much, you can't get this little bonus. And you're not going to get the tax credit until June. But they rushed the thing to give Asians 50 million. They rushed it. But they can't rush to give you the $3,000 per child tax credit or whatever it is. Isn't that peculiar? Isn't that peculiar? Is a Manchurian candidate organization. Kamala is so fake. Oh, if you guys, let me see. I'm going to put this on the board. It's so important. There's a new organization I think you all should join, or you all should consider. I'm going to write it on the board. So I think we need to. Did I spell this shit wrong? You're like, you can't even spell. I think we all need to join this. There we go. That's who matters. All pimps matter. So that's who we need to focus our efforts to that all pimps matter. That's who matters. But yeah, this chick is going around the country buying cribs and shit. Why not? I mean, that's what, like they say, that's what Marxists and that's what the Jewish faith people have showed people to do in communism. You take the loot, you have your underlings, but you live in luxury. They've done that from the beginning. You don't think Stalin was living in luxury before he killed Lenin? You don't think Lenin was living in luxury? Trotsky and them, they was all kind of living in luxury, not the underlings. Same thing in China. They let the Chinese government people live in luxury. As I said, China is the only country where Chinese aren't well off. They have to go other places. They're not successful in China. You got the Communist Party that's successful, but not the rest of the motherfuckers. They got to go somewhere else to be successful. And that's funny. Most people, like most Americans is in America being successful in America. China is one of the places where these motherfuckers ain't successful over there. They got to go other places to be successful. So what does that tell you about that country? If you can't even live in your own country, be successful, you got to go other places to be successful. What does that tell you? Pimp the sisters while the white man pimps nations. I just say pimp it all. I don't say it. I ain't saying pimp sisters. I'm saying pimp it all. The people who voted for Slow Joe or President Mr. Magoo are super quiet right now. Yeah, Dread, they really are. I say pimp it all. So I say pimp the world. I don't say sisters or brothers. I say pimp them all. Pimp everything. That's why all pimps matter, because you pimp everything. It's like almost the way you use your magic. You got to always use magic. Maybe I don't stress that enough. You have to always use magic and always look at a kind of exhaust. Always look at that. It's like, okay, I want the good luck to come here. The bad luck needs to come over there. I remember coming home the other night. I saw somebody get stopped. I was like, okay. It's always a reminder like that. If you do your magic right, that's how it works. You're not the one that gets stopped. That's why I suffer watching the brothers that, say they're sovereign people and they're nationals. But that attracts a certain element. You seeing these dudes always getting stopped. The magic is to be disappeared to them, be clear to them. The idea is if you at a light, they going that way and you going this way. You see, that's the idea, not to do shit to attract them. That's the problem I got with that stuff. You attracting this stuff. The thing that you say you're getting away from, Your efforts are attracting that. You can do all that without attracting that. But, they've seen Nine Feathers Bay has been in China for 13 years. He says the opposite of what you say. Has been in China for 13 years, and he said the opposite of what you say. Okay, so he's saying that they are successful people in China. Okay, I've had a couple. Hey, Valerie, I had a couple players that hooped over there, and I said one didn't like it, the other did like it. Okay, he says the opposite. He's been living and he likes living in China. I wonder what he does there. I have to look him. Is he somebody you can look up? Because I'd like to see. Because they still got them. They don't call them style eggs, but they got labor camps there by the hundreds of thousands. They still got that, and that ain't just propaganda. They ain't never got rid of that. They got a lot of slavery still in China, and that's not just propaganda. So I would like to see his information because I've talked to people that have been over there too. Now the hoopers have a life. I'll say that if you go over there and hoop, you don't have these issues. But the average poor people, they still have a lot of issues. They still almost in servitude. So yeah, hit me to it, Rocky. Pimp, pimp, hooray. There you go. In this case, the No Pimp Left Behind Act will be passed tomorrow. There we go. That should be it. That's right. There we go. There we go. But yeah, Rocky, you got to hit me with that. You got to hit me with that. Or send me a link because I would like to see because that ain't what my guys say. They both say it was too damn many folks over there though. But there's a lot of hoopers. Well, no, because of before Uncle Imbecile went out, some of the restrictions with the Nike thing, they kicked Nike out, remember? So the league was halted. I don't know if the league is back up. Making the tale of Mac and his holistic. Yes, it is. He is on OG as Bear Boy Royal. I'm not on Instagram. I have to look him up still. I think my son is. Okay. We will look him up. We will look him up. We will look him up. I'll write it down. I will look him up. Does he hoop? Because Marbury got a red card, which is impossible. Marbury is, I think, the only American with a red card, which means he has dual citizenship. But Marbury's role was to make that league the highest league. That was kind of the agreement. Is turn it from Europe, and the top feeder league is over here. So when they're over there, I think Michael Beasley is one of the first big examples. When he wasn't playing over here, he was playing over there. And that was Marbury's role. Because before, they would have to go play over Europe or the islands or Mexico, South America. No idea. No idea if he hoops. Okay. Because that's the most people I know that hoop or used to hoop over there. But yeah, I'll check him out. That's funny. Yeah, especially his age. He might be too old where he couldn't hoop no more. But I imagine they let some people over. I imagine. I'd like to look at something and see. But from my information, they ain't doing very well. Certain cities, remember it wasn't long ago they was building them cities, nobody was living in them. It's like they got all this money to build these cities, and it's like a city that could hold 50 to 100,000 people, and it'd be like 2,000, 3,000 people in the city. It'd be an empty city. So now I don't know if that was propaganda, but they said they was building them all around. Made me think that's where they was going to take Americans over there and let you live in these on top of each other. Where is it where the people rent the cages? The people live like the people like have like their cribs be cages like in a house. So like they have a cage. So it's like where it would be beds, it would be 3 or 4 cages per bed, like, and you rent that cage. Where is that? Is that Japan or is that China? Where you rent a cage and shit. So it's like they pack a bunch of motherfuckers in the house, but you pay for that cage where you sleep and all your goods and whatever you own, and then you can still use the bathroom. There's somewhere to put your clothes, but you basically pay to live in the cage. So you don't pay for the whole apartment; you live in the cage. Anybody know where that is? Marbury will be compensated with him accomplishing the mission. Little internet cafes they live in. Okay, little internet cafes. What do you think Marbury would be compensated? I mean, that red card is I mean, that's Valerie. That almost puts him not quite in the Communist Party, but highly favored. So that's his compensation. He's got that red card, which he can probably go freely to Russia as well. Not to say, you know, that guy's that sophisticated, but he basically has Chinese citizenship. So that's a high compensation. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's in ownership. Somebody's baking something. That he's in some type of ownership over there as well. But yeah. So that's his compensation was that red card. Because he only won 2 or 3 championships. He only played over there 7 or 8 years. So, but they built him a museum. I don't know if you knew that. They built him a museum over there. So not too many people in America. You only win 2 or 3 championships, you're not going to get a museum. No, that ain't enough. They're not going to give you a museum for a couple championships. You know, you got to be Kobe or Magic status to get one here. But internet cafes they live in, yeah, that's crazy though. You rent, 30 yen or whatever it is, and rent your little cage that you call your own. But someone, if I rented a cage, I wonder how that goes when you want to get some booty. You can put little curtains around the cage, and do your business. But like you would have to, because the bed would cover the person under you. And then you have to put a little curtain or something over you so the people ain't looking in. And people would know, can you imagine that? Your date is you take your date in your cage. That's your date. And you be in the cage watching the movie and shit on the phone, eating popcorn and shit, microwaves of popcorn, you in your little cage. The people hitting the cage is like, what are you guys doing in there? I know you're tearing it up, and you guys are watching a movie in your cage, eating your little popcorn, might have you a little beer or something. I don't think they let you smoke weed over there. And did y'all see the cat? The cat was in Iran or Dubai. The guy was in Dubai and shit. And he got hurt and they found weed in his blood system, so they arrested him. You got to be a dumb motherfucker, though. You do an edible or do some shit over there, and then you got to go to the doctors. And, that's some bad luck, motherfucker. Ain't that some bad luck shit? It's like, well, we got to do a blood test on that. Hey, they calling up to the president shit. Hey, this motherfucker got weed up in his system. He was doing weed in Iran or Dubai. He was doing weed in Dubai, and they locked his ass up. And they're like, you knew the laws. The laws say you can't have any weed in your system if you come here. So remember this. In Dubai, it's okay to shit on somebody and piss on them, but you just can't have weed in your system. So how do the sisters that go over there to get this, or the people, the women go over there and, so if you go over there to get shit on, don't have any weed in your system. Maybe they're taking it easier on people coming in private planes, but don't get in a stupid accident where you get cut. If you know you got weed in your system, you go to Dubai because they'll lock you up for it in your system. You can't have zero. They're zero tolerance. I don't know what they've got against it. Yeah, I think he only won 2, 3 at the most, but I want to say 2. Yep, 2 or 3. But he has a museum, Marbury Museum. It shows his whole career in America and then his career over there. I think he only won 2, though. You can look it up. It's 2 or 3. No more than 3, though. No more than 3. But it was the first championship that I think that because he played for a couple different teams. He played for 2 different teams, but he played at the top league. He went over there and he's still fairly young. His best career could have been here. He was with Garnett. He should have stayed. He was hating. He was hating on Garnett, jealous of Garnett. He thought he should have been the man. He thought he was better than what he was. It's the humane society. What is in THC? The government entities don't like it. I guess they don't over there. But I mean, a country that allows you to shit on a person and pee on a person, I mean, I don't know what they've got against weed. It's like you some of the grossest motherfuckers in the world, and you got something against, like, you can't even have this shit in your system because you might touch somebody. So say I got all weeded up on my private jet and I get over there, I might touch somebody with the golden finger, because I am golden, and I might touch somebody with the golden finger, and that's all it takes to get them on. Be like, hey, you got any more of those edibles, buddy? You gave me that touch. There's something different in the way you touch me. And say you go over there and get you a girl that, you don't gotta shit or piss on her, but I mean, whatever they give you to her for, and you hit her, and it's like you have that in your system. She, it might just give her a spark like no other. She's like, hey, I don't know about that guy, but anytime he comes in town, call me up because I feel pretty good. I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's just some crazy shit. And he had to be a European. Brother be too cool. Brother be like, motherfucker, I know these rules over here. Motherfucker, I'm cutting my hand. I'm abandoning my shit up. I'm not going to let them trick me like that. Yeah, I'm okay. We thought no, I'm okay. I don't need shit from you. Just bring me another towel, motherfucker. That's how brothers handle it. The dude like ripped off a fingernail. He's all up in the Kool-Aid. He's all up in there like, oh, it's bleeding pretty bad and it hurts. He just ripped off a nail. And they're like, well, we're gonna have to do a drug test. We're gonna just have to take your blood. Okay, he's stupid. Hey, that golden stuff is in him. We can't have that. You might touch somebody and they start feeling good. And next thing you know, you going around the Arab Emirates, you touching people, healing them. You got that healing THC power. You can just be touching them. You know how the preachers used to do, and just you are healed, and you walking around healing everybody. They can't have that. You got that golden touch. So they're like, no, you've had that natural healer in you. You could be walking around healing people. I don't know, guys. I just have fun with it. You won't see me over there doing that kind of thing. Well, let me give the divination, and we should be at 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes. We should be at 7 Uno, and we should be at 18 kin. I smell cookies. They must be cooking cookies across the hall. And 18 kin is, pretty sure that's what I put. 18. Yes. 18 kin. And then that would mean the energy is to the north today. Yep. So 18 kin would be Astabaz. And this is my year birth would be considered 13 Anstabaz. So that would be my proper birth year. 8 wind, I kind of copy from the ancestors. But my proper name would be 13 that. And again, that's kind of the wave harmonic. But it means Hall of Mirrors, ritual pattern of no time, ritual stroke, ritual knife, sword of wisdom, and purification. And I was thinking, I didn't bring it out. I do have another way of giving Mayan readings too. I do have another way, and it gets kind of deep. I'll have to bring that book out. I don't use it a whole lot, but it is another way to give people readings with Mayan energy behind it. So I do have that too. So the name is Tapato or Flint. In this card image, we see a Yanni with the symbols of self-sacrifice and his let me slow down. Okay. Yeah. Now, I found this the other day. I wanted to read this to people. No, not that. I'm going to slow down, and it's back here at the end. Here's a depiction of the hero twins they found on a vase. But that's not why I stopped. It should be right here. Okay. Now, I pronounce it Yanni. Now, this is a different pronunciation. It's Yahuie, but in Elizabeth, can't think of her name, but she pronounces it, she spells it Yani. So, this is among the most important supernaturals appearing in the post-classic, which they're talking about Omen area. Codices is a character wearing a kazaklo, serpent headdress, and tail, and shell of a turtle upon his body, an indication of its fiery nature. Basically, they're saying that, which is that. Occasionally sprouts flaming baldles from the head and tail. At times, the figure carries a conch trumpet and a flint blades in his hands. In many instances, he appears flying or in the role of a sacrificer tearing the heart of a victim. Has noted that Mary Elizabeth Smith, this is noted that the Codex Mora and the Codex Sanchez Solis, this turtle fire-shaped character is named Yahu. In the Colonial Mystic Dictionary, Yahu is defined as a certain wizard that can see, again, the wizard would not apply to South America, is defined as a certain being that can fly through the air. This flying may be identical to one of the two sons born in the creator of the one deer. Also, in the myth text, the Yanni may have been the companion spirit of a powerful transformation, Yanni like Nahu, which is another spiritual person of South America. One of the most common companion spirits, the Yanni may allude to both lightning and thunder, whereas the ability to fly, the fire serpent attributes, and the flint blades may refer to lightning, the turtle shell. So, again, this does come from the Zapotex, the mixed text, the Potex. But what he doesn't tell you is 8 deer, jaguar claw, and 8 flint eagle also were this. Matter of fact, in 8 flint eagles' life, he didn't start being a civilization builder or a family builder till he was in his 60s, around my age. The rest of his life, he was a holy man. So I wanted to say that. And I'll bring that book out tomorrow if I remember. So, again, in this image, we see a Yanni, symbols of self-sacrifice in his left hand, and the symbol of Akato in a big pendant on his chest. On top, we see a sky full of carved flint, signifying how everything concerning the individual is connected with the higher realms of the cosmos. From these higher realms, a protective hand descends. This means that the Yanni is protected because of the development of his higher wellness, higher awareness, which also could mean ancestral protection. Because there are times when each of our lives where you might have thought you were about to kill yourself, and I mean an accident kill yourself, and you felt a push or a hug or a hold, and it could have been one of your ancestors saving you. Tapacto represents enhanced awareness like a mirror, reflects the harmonious existence of the cosmic totality. It also represents the power and wellness that arise from living in a harmonious connection with what is higher, both in physical manifestation as the universe and in spiritual dimensions as the unifying sustaining force in the universe. This is known as the Sanato, the sacred unity. Tapacto also implies the tension or effort it takes for a carved flint knife to cut open its way and achieve fulfillment in a given task. In the spiritual sense, Tapacto represents not only higher awareness, but especially the efforts you have to make to achieve such higher awareness. It also represents the effort to live a purposeful life, which in turn promotes the achievement of higher awareness. These two reciprocal efforts sustain each other in what we all call sacred sustaining systems. But for the efforts of a knife to succeed in opening its way, the flint first needs to be carved and polished, nurtured. For this means that to achieve your full strength, you have to carve and polish yourself. This is consistent with the Toltec concept of human development, which is expressed in the old advice of the elders. Sculpt for yourself a real face and develop your soul so that you can see others and can be seen by them. Okay. But for the efforts of the knife, and be seen by them. For your higher goal to be achieved, first you should develop yourself to have a real face. Then you must be persistent and sustain your efforts in the right direction so that you can open your way to achieve your higher dreams. In other words, direct your efforts both to the inner work and also the external world. Trying to achieve something really valuable by focusing outside yourself would be senseless because the way you experience life is a result of the dynamic and hopefully harmonious interaction between the two realms of your existence. Therefore, you have to carve and polish the flint first and then learn to direct it to your higher goal and sustain intent with your actions in the world. And that is why I carry two little pocket knives because it symbolizes spiritually that it cuts through ignorance and not necessarily evil, but actually ignorance. And so it'll keep you in a higher resonance. So my little knives, I don't necessarily carry for protection. I mean, the pick stuff too, but basically that is why I carry them. And I carry them on both sides so they're balanced. But it's to cut through a lot of ignorance or bullshit, whatever you want to call it. So to keep you away from a lot of bullshit. So trying to think. In my point of view, plans or mind maps are not effective. Is it possible that I have not taken time to develop them? That's a good point. It is my plan or goal that is wrong. Is it my plan or goal that is wrong, or do I need to refine one or both of them? In my work, is there any situation, relationship, or project that I am rejecting just because I don't like it in its current form? Is there any positive or powerful possibility for situations that I am not noticing? How could I work on this situation so the power and benefits that hide within can be unleashed? So these are just some possibilities. So the energy is from the north, and that's just trying to, I give freedom. Uh, Actually, where am I, miss? You invest in crypto? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I got to get another cheap computer to do some more mining. Bad for publicity. Rocky says, no, I don't think they'd arrest. Look it up. They arrested a cat. They're holding him in jail. Yeah, I got that off CNN. I wasn't just, but yeah, they got a cat. Again, he was a goofy. And yeah, they arrested him. Raymonte, thank you for joining. Just got from a date, man. Love from Texas, Elder. Thank you. That's very kind. But yes, I do invest in crypto, but I invest in all of it, not just Bitcoin. Did you mention that flint? I carry a knife and flint. Ah, interesting. Yeah, there's a little necklace, little thing I ordered that's got it's a knife. It's a necklace knife, but it has a flint inside of it too, because a flint can start a fire. It's magnetism. I keep a knife in my car, but I am going to start having one on me. I carry where is it at? I wear this, but I wear the one with the four, so it's four of these. But there's one, a puja, that has the knife. So you could wear, it's normally like a Buddha head, but it has the puja, the knife, and it's for the, that's kind of where I got the theory from. So I was working with my totem, and the totem was really deep. The totem appeared for me because, like, right now I'm just upgrading all my magic. It's like I've just upgraded everything, and so right now I've got the generator out. I got my big piece of stibolite, which is on top of fluoroapophyllite, which is just fluoroapophyllite is just the green apophyllite. And I anointed all of them, hit them with sound, and just been meditating with that kind of in my area. And so my totem came alive. So that was quite deep. I haven't had it do that in a while. And so that was interesting. It was interesting. It revealed itself. So I was like, okay. So it's working with me because my magic got kind of weak and I was just taking everything for granted. So I just started tightening up my own personal work. because it's a thing. It's constant work. It really is. Magic is not something easy. It is something that you always have to upgrade and stuff. So it's like driving is the way we use, most common people use our magic. And we think of everything else but the magic we need to be successful on the road. Because it's sometimes it's really like remarkable that we just don't crash into each other. But it's the machine put it this way where we won't crash into each other, not that often, because it'll make it, what are the things that make us don't want to drive? If people was crashing, dying every day, people wouldn't drive, or gas is too damn high. Then we, like in '08, people quit driving because it was too expensive, or you drove less. There's trips to wherever we wasn't doing them when gas was for something in the heartland, not just California, but when gas was $4 everywhere, motherfuckers wasn't traveling like that. Motherfuckers like, fuck these cars. And like here in Minneapolis, if you live in the city, it goes to, like, you could take the trains or the bus. And again, it might take you an hour to get there, where it took me 12 minutes to drive to work. If I had to take the bus, it would take me an hour. But it took me there. And it would take me slightly earlier, so I would get overtime. So it wasn't really a bad deal. The LA Fitness in Texas, ever since I've been sharing my vibe and grow with others, they give me my monetary offerings. That's nice. That's very nice. That's very nice that you have those skills. That's very nice. Black, every energy was very alive and animated last night. Well, yeah, that is cool. That is cool. That is really good for you. But yeah, so I had that's what I do is I study. I study what I invest in. Verizon took a hit a couple of days ago, and they didn't hardly ever do. Verizon and Nike are pretty solid. Verizon is most of the time pretty solid. Ford took a hit though. Ford was, I think this was what we Thursday. Yeah, I think Ford went down to $12, and it was up to 16, so it took a hit. So, Chrysler doesn't exist anymore. It's called Stellantis, I think it's called. The people make Peugeot, Fiat, Maserati. Them Maserati cars ain't shit. Them cars are Fiat's another car. Them cars really ain't shit. So it's just like Land Rover. They on about the end of the 5 years of this Indian company own them. Them cars ain't gonna be shit. Already the parts are very hard on you if you got one. But the new ones, if you outside where that other company owns, design that car, you are not going to get a very good car. Another car that's come up is Jaguars. Jaguars, Ford had to retool Jaguar, where they didn't have to retool Volvo, but Ford had to retool Jaguar, and they still gave Jaguar away. But this is the interesting thing. Chrysler meant so much. What did Chrysler? Mercedes bought Chrysler for billions, and they sold it. It was like 30 or 40 billion, and they sold it for something like hundreds of millions. It was like hundreds of millions they sold. They just couldn't wait to get rid of that shit. But Jaguar, from Ford retooling it, you get a pretty decent product. And I know, I don't think the Indian company owns Jaguar. I don't think. I could be wrong. But I know that Indian company owns Land Rover. Yeah. And so, yeah, Land Rover would be iffy. Used ones, yes, but if it's not produced by the other people before, I wouldn't mess with them. So I've been a Teo practitioner and a practitioner of the sacred breath for 34 years. Wow, congratulations. Congratulations on that. Well, I've been going 2 hours. I don't think I'm going to go much longer. But just the thing is, again, with the loneliness and boredom, find what your passion is. And this is the thing, like, say you like to rap. You don't have to rap to try to make money, or say you like making beats. You ain't got to try to make money off of that. Or you just like to sing. Do that. Get you a speaker and a microphone where you just sing. If that's something you love. I'm just giving that as an example. It's like, find what your passion is and how often you can do it. I mean, when the weather's nice enough, I would go just shoot baskets. Got to find another place because it's damn concrete over there, and it's not good to shoot on concrete. Tears your legs up. But it's just a lot of different passions that you got to find that you have, so you don't feel bored, you don't feel lonely, and you don't, because when we get when you go to like a doctor's or somewhere, you got to sit and wait. What everybody doing? And I already showed you when you stay in this position, you start getting these things that look like horns. And you will pass that shit on if you have children. If you're a young person, that shit grows on you like that, you will pass that shit on. I mean, to me, the most idiotic thing in the world is seeing a person walk down the street doing this. You know how many people have seriously got hit like that, children? Children get hit like that all the time. Not freaking paying attention, doing like this. It's like now a person don't even mind being out in the rain and the snow and it's cold, long as they can do like this while they walk. I saw a dude, he was wearing a hoodie. It was 10 above zero. He had on a hoodie on, no gloves, regular pants. Didn't seem like he had on boots, but he had a phone and he was walking. You know how people, when they walk, they got that look like, damn, I'm out here walking and I'm embarrassed because I'm walking. Shit, motherfucker have a phone, they be walking and just as all confident in the world, as long as they got this. And it's like you make you think, now, damn, how much does a used car cost? And how much did you pay for that phone? I think people look at it. Some people would buy the phone before they buy a car. So find your passion. Find your passion. Find a hobby that sustains you all the time other than the phone. I like to read. I like these crystals. I like to smoke. So these are things that I love. Music is good too with helping lift your mood. The older music, the better the choice. Yeah, I mean, I think it was already showed that R&B music from the 60s up until the 90s is probably the highest vibrational music you can find. Now, I would agree that classic music is very high vibrational because they hit a lot of the levels that we want for health. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you can listen to classical music and then study, and it will give you that focus. Classical music can give you that focus. But we're talking about different generations that can't resonate with that. They might not give a fuck about hearing the violins and the trombones and all that shit. Might be hard for you to. I grew up hearing, it was William Tell had the dun, 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 dun. That was William Tell music. And then they later used it in the Lone Ranger. Dun, 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 dun. But at first it was used to William Tell. So by the time the Lone Ranger, they was showing them Lone Rangers, that was William Tell music. So it was the same music. William Tell was a motherfucker. They was always, I would have loved to be William Tell. You always sieging some motherfucker. And you always climbing up the ladder and you got them damn. I can't even think of what they're called. The boat kind of bow and arrows. The gun bow and arrows. They shoot the shit out of each other. They always like, dudes would pull out the sword and William Tell's men would pull out them damn guns. They'd like, blink. Dude like, oh, he got hit with an arrow and shit. He got a big ass sword. The sword be big as him. And William Tell like, we don't play that shit. Bloop. But they was always on the ladders. And like when they sieging, sometime when they sieging mugs, they be on the ladders just talking shit to the people. Like, you guys can't win. And we're coming up in there eventually. They're like, not if we keep throwing these boulders and this hot wax on your ass, you're not coming in here. They're like, and then sometimes when they wasn't mad at each other, like they would just like go see their buddy and climb up the wall. And they was always talking to motherfucker on the ladder and shit. It's just like, hey, John, are you in there? Hey, buddy, how you doing, William Tell? And they cut the shit. And this is how they filming the shit. They are filming this shit with these motherfuckers on the ladders. And they ain't really on the ladders, they just standing there, but it makes you, think. But it's like these guys really like ladders back in the day. I can imagine just going to see my best friend, I guess he's skinning hogs or something. I'm climbing the ladder and I'm talking to him over the fence and shit, or over the castle wall. So that might have been fun. The siege and shit. Siege of motherfuckers. Crossbows, thank you. Oh man, I like the gritty, dusty sound you get from vinyl records. That's why I like Stingy. If you look at what's his name, Genuine, when he does Stingy, When he done stingy, you hear that crack, 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 crickle, crickle, and then he gets into, and stingy. I mean, that's pimp music. Stingy is plain pimp music where he's just rapping. And rapping don't mean to the beat. Rapping used to mean talking to a person to convince them. Hey, baby, let me rap to you. Now it's turned into let me holler at you. It used to be, come here, baby. Or you even tell your friend, hey, let's rap for a minute. Teachers thought they was hip and be like, come on, let me rap to you. Yeah, you had these teachers, But that's how we used to talk to people. Come here, baby, let me rap to you for a second. Doesn't mean the same thing. Ladders sound Masonic. I don't know. William telling his boys they had crossbows and ladders. They didn't even fuck around with. They carried a little sword about this big, and the people they would always face would have them big ass. What do you call them? Not the Lancelot, but it's a name like that. And they always had the big ones, and the dudes would pull out the big swords at all his guys, or it'd be the guy from the back that always would hit him first with the crossbow. And you see them all fall over like they didn't know these motherfuckers had crossbows and shit. They had the littlest swords, and I don't ever remember them bringing the swords out. William Tell was always shooting motherfuckers, but yes, very Masonic, very ladder, always had ladders, always putting siege in and shit. old live television. That shit had to be from the late 50s, early 60s. It had to be reruns by the time I was little and watched that shit. But William Tell was bad, crossbowing a motherfucker. They would always like be surprised when they got hit with the arrows. Like it just like never crossed their mind. The motherfucker got these crossbows and shit. Like I'm going to get you, William Tell, and boom, as soon as he say that shit, an arrow will be in his chest. Like, the source of the different world religions are the offspring of truth. But look that shit up if that cracks you. That kind of thing would crack you up. Look up William Tell because that shit's funny. That shit was funny back in the day. It's old shit, but it's funny shit. But it's the same music as the Lone Ranger. Dun, 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 dun. Not but maybe I'm singing the Bonanza music. I don't know. I'm tripping. But it's the same music. Well, guys, I think 2 hours is probably good enough to hear old man talk. Pay attention to the world every day. Pay attention to your surrounding. Bullshit is all around us. I mean, not only are these physical attacks, keep your spiritual thing tight. That's why I had to do mine tight. And I practice every day, but it was some parts of me where I was like, okay, I'm going to make this even tighter. So that's what I would suggest for everybody. Whenever you do spiritual, that's why I say we all can do magic. Everyone has a type of magic skill. You just have to find what your skill is. And what does your imagination tell you that you can do? I mean, if you're a parent, you're already a healer. That's just something that comes natural. If you're a woman, women have higher intuition than we do. It's almost a natural thing. But if you're a man and you feel that you have a keen intuition, work on that. Hone it. Hone these skills. Practice telepathy with your family. I mean, this is a real thing. You and your wife or your mate, whoever, and your children, practice telepathy with them so they can just read your face and know. Send them notes. Send them things. So even when your children can go out, if they need you, boom, they can ping you and you can ping them back. And I don't know if people, I can tell when my children think of me. Even my children who live in Michigan, I can tell when they think of me, it hits me. Like, I wonder what they want. Or they'll come through in a dream. It's like when my family members come to me in dreams, I call them. Like, what do you guys need? Because I know it's not just a regular thing. Especially to show up in the dream. I'm like, what's going on? What do you need? So find out your specialness. Because we're all special. That's the thing. We think that the people in movies is special. No, we're all special. They wouldn't let us stay around here if there wasn't something that we offer. We are very unique individuals. So if you watch me, you got to be unique because I know I'm one of a kind. But I don't try to beat people over the head with certain things. Some people just push it, push it, push it. I like, I like to flow with it. I'm not, 100% correct. Being correct is not my goal. My goal is to be like the glass of water, to flow, the flow. That's the thing. Balance ain't just standing in the middle. Balance is this and this and this and this and this. That's balance. Balance is not just standing there. Well, it's not moving that way, not moving that way. That's not balance. That's stagnant. You got to go back and forth with the balance. That's true balance. Is you got to bend a little bit, like it says with the reed. Sometimes you got to bend like the reed. And sometimes you got to be stiff as the reed can be. Spit all in this thing. I guess that's what it's for. You spit and it catches the spit. I call it trouble with tribbles. Trouble with tribbles. Well, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank each and every one of you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
I on the computer like an old ass man.
Your mama likes old ass men because I abused your mom. Remember that? So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, When Is Timeless, and I always end with Eshawn's poem. I'm not a New York rapper or a LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been a Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you. Till we meet again.